Okay, welcome everybody to Curious Vlad. After a decadent summer vacation, which was many months long, we're back and excited to be here. So let's begin with a prayer as we always do, and then we will go through a few things and start to answer some questions that folks have already begun to post in the chat, and that's great, and we encourage people to do that. I'll also take a look, which I didn't think about doing that before, and see if we have questions that people have submitted ahead of time, because sometimes they do, and we want to make sure that we get those questions. So we'll take a look at that as well. Okay, so let's start with our prayer. O heavenly King, Comforter, Spirit of Truth, who art everywhere present and fillest all things, treasury of good things and giver of life, come and dwell in us and cleanse us of all impurity and save our souls, O good one. Okay, good. So there's a few folks on, and if you see this program in a recording and you have a question, please put it in the comments section below the recording. We'll see that. We'll get a note that that was put there, and we'll either address it right there, or we'll talk about it in next week's Curious Vlad. So I'm really thankful that we have the opportunity to be back, and I think this is an important opportunity for people to be able to ask questions, spiritual questions, questions about the parish, things that are going on, all of those things. We try to address those here. So please do that, folks. Ask your questions, and we will try to answer them. We had a really great Sunday yesterday, super turnout, some new people in church, which is really exciting also, and a really great lecture after the service. So for those who weren't able to stay for that, it's such an important lecture that Father Vladimir gave, and so great. And that's going to be on our YouTube channel. And I put the link to all our social media. It's called a link tree. Instead of trying to put 10 different links in, I just put everything together in that. You can check that out, and you'll be able to go to our YouTube channel there. It's not up yet. It's a pretty lengthy, well, not lengthy, 30 to 45 minutes, I guess it was, with a good conversation afterwards. So that'll be on the YouTube channel probably tomorrow. I would think on Tuesday. I know that's being processed, and that's usually when the sermon goes up as well. If you want to get stuff faster, you can see the sermons usually on Sunday night if you join our Telegram channel. That's also at that same link if you decide you want to do that. Okay, good. And we had a really great Sunday gospel yesterday about the sower going out to sow seed, and I was inspired by that. So today I was sowing grass seed all over my lawn. We had some septic work done, and that needed to be done. So we were able to sort of model that a little bit today, and yeah, so that's just what that is. So let me quickly go through the schedule for this week, and it's a busy one, and a few things that are coming up, and then we'll start getting to people's questions. So as I mentioned, it's a pretty busy week and a good one. Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning is our Ann Arbor Orthodox Classical Academy cycle of services. So Tuesday at 6, Wednesday morning at 8, and then following the 8 o'clock liturgy, we'll have our preschool catechism as we usually do, and everybody's invited to that. Then Wednesday evening is super busy this week because Thursday is Halloween, so we had to move some stuff around. So Wednesday at 6 o'clock, we have a Cathist for the Ill at St. Vladimir's, and after that at 7, we have our Crucifixion of the King of Glory reading group. That's our usual schedule, but also at 6 o'clock, but not at St. Vladimir's, at Father Collins, we'll have the Bible study on Wednesday this week only. So not Thursday, because Thursday at 5 o'clock, we're gathering at St. Vladimir's for the Halloween alternative that we've had for many years. I don't remember how many years. I would guess it's something like 15, but I could be wrong. In any case, we want to give people an opportunity, and especially after you listen to Father Vladimir's lecture, you'll definitely want to come to the alternative instead of the other option. And that's at 5 o'clock. As I said, on Thursday, we'll have Vespers for St. John of Kronstadt. And then afterwards, there'll be games for the kids. There'll be a nice meal, and we'll begin watching a movie. I say begin because we tend to choose long movies for this particular thing. We watched The Sound of Music over the last 2 years. This year, we'll be starting something new, and we're going to do the 10 Commandments. So with Charleston Heston. So that's an old movie, but I think a very interesting and good one. And that's going to take at least 2 years to do as well, because it's a very long movie. But anyway, that's our plan for Thursday night. Then Friday morning, Divine Liturgy for St. John of Kronstadt at 8 o'clock. And Friday evening at 6, and Saturday morning at 8, we have the Demetrius Soul Saturday. So there's always a Soul Saturday around the feast of Saint Demetrius, the great martyr. It's 1 or 2 Saturdays before usually, and so we'll be having it this Saturday. So Friday evening and Saturday morning, then Saturday church school at 5, vigil at 6, liturgy on Sunday morning at 10 as usual, and then we'll have catechism for adults after liturgy on Sunday morning. So of course we have our meal, but sometime during the meal, probably maybe halfway through, something like that, Father Colin will gather the catechumens. They'll go over to the school and have the first catechumen class for this year. So it's not just new catechumens that are welcome to participate. It's also folks who would just like to learn more about their faith or want to brush up on their faith. So everybody's welcome. It's for new catechumens, but those who are wanting to learn more or kind of review are welcome to do that too. So that's a busy and I think will be a nice Sunday morning. Archbishop Peter visits us not this coming Saturday and Sunday, but the next one. Because of that, there won't be a 9 to 12 or a teen youth group on that Sunday, the 10th. That'll be rescheduled. We'll know the date of that in the next day or two. Archbishop Peter will join our young adult group, though, at 6 o'clock at our house on the 10th, and that should be very, very interesting. So please take note of that. We'll have a pilgrimage to Holy Cross Monastery December 13th to 15th. We'll have a parenting retreat at St. Vladimir's on January 11th, a marriage retreat on February 1st. Our Ann Arbor Orthodox Classical Academy Ball is on the 14th of February. And I want to just point out one more thing about this coming Sunday. You know, we say that our second Pascha is St. Vladimir Day. Well, that is true, because that's the main feast of our parish. That's the feast of our altar, is the feast of St. Vladimir. Well, we have a sort of third Pascha in our parish, because there was a Russian Orthodox community in Ann Arbor in the 50s. This is made up mostly of folks who came after World War II, although there were some already here who had been going all the way down to Detroit for church now and again. But they decided to form a community here in Ann Arbor. They had a priest, Father Peter Demet. He was Dmitriev before he came through Ellis Island. They changed it to Demet, whatever. But in any case, they were serving in different Ann Arbor parishes, kind of bouncing around. And when Father Peter died, the bishops were not able to send another priest to replace him, unfortunately, and so the parish closed. That parish was named after Saint Hilarion the Great. That's why we have Saint Hilarion the Great on our iconostasis at St. Vladimir's. That's in the confessional where I usually am. In any case, there isn't really such a thing as a third Pascha, but if there is one, then this would be it for us, because this was the patron saint day, patron feast day of that original Ann Arbor parish. And we do try to serve, if we can, every day on that year. It's not always easy, because this tends to be a very busy time of year with lots of saints and lots of different liturgies, but we try. And this year, well, it'll be on Sunday. And so probably the sermon will be about this too, and how important it is for us as Orthodox Christians to learn from our fathers and mothers and try to do the best of what they did. So anyway, that's a little something about the upcoming Sunday. So that's that. And several folks wrote questions in the chat, so I'm going to start tackling those. If you have questions, please raise your hand, though, and we'll also go after those. So the first question is, would you please explain what a liturgical practicum is at St. Vladimir's? Yes. So Archbishop Peter is very concerned is the wrong word. He's focused. He's focused on the fact that he would like to make sure that our clergy are serving the services appropriately. And so he decided that it would be good for us to have a liturgical practicum for our clergymen in the diocese once or twice per year. We've been doing it twice a year lately, and it's for those who are newly ordained, those who will be soon ordained, or even for those who've been a priest for quite a long time. We had a priest who had been a priest for 20 years join the last one, and he said that he learned a lot. So that's very interesting. So we'll be gathering clergy from the northern part of the diocese pretty much. I think the farthest south is Iowa, that we have someone coming. And we'll be going over the services. We're going to go over the Saturday Vigil and Sunday morning Divine Liturgy. That's what most people serve most of the time. So we base our education on that. There's also voice coaching for the clergy so that they learn how to use their voice appropriately, because when you're young, you can make your voice do just about anything. But if you want to be able to use it when you're old, you have to use it correctly when you're young. So we teach people how to use the voice correctly, so on and so forth. So it's a really great and very intense gathering, and that's why Lydic is coming to us. Not that he doesn't want to come visit us, but he tries to go to each of those liturgical practica if he can, and he is able to come at least for the weekend part of this one. And that's important because he has some things that he also wants to convey to the clergymen. So anyway, that's what a liturgical practicum is, and we're hosting it this time. Now that we've finished our school, we have a place where we can kind of have a sit down and talk, and we can have our meals, and then we can use the church for the church part. And I'm pretty excited about that. It's going to be the first kind of coming out of our parish since we finished the school. So I think it's going to be very, very positive, and I'm really looking forward to that. So that's what a liturgical practicum is. Okay, next question. What is so horrible about the third day after death? St. John Maximovich says, terrible indeed is the third day for the soul of the departed, and for this reason it especially needs prayers then for itself. I don't think horrible is the right word. I think the issue is that on the third day, the soul, okay, so death is the soul being and the body being separated. That's it. The body can't live without the soul. So death is the soul and the body being separated. Hypothetically, the soul could go visit wherever it wanted to in the world, but since it was created with the body, it generally stays around the body during that time. And on the third day, according to the church's tradition, the angels begin to escort the soul away from the body and towards the heavenly kingdom. And so this is what St. John is pointing out, that this is something completely new for the soul. It's never been without the body before. This is the first time that this happens. And so this is something that is a little bit scary, I guess is the right word. Not horrible like the horror movie, but it's something new. And anything new to us, we don't like change, right? And so anything new can be a little bit scary. And that's why it's important that we pray, especially on the third day. Well, usually the third day is the funeral. Not always, but usually. That in the ideal situation, the third day is the funeral. And so what St. John is saying, we should be very attentive to this, especially on the third day. So I hope that answers the question. We could talk more about the third day, the 9th day, the 40th day, which are all important days for the soul from our reckoning. It's all may just take place in the blink of an eye for the soul, because there's no time in the next life. So we really don't know, but that's how we are to understand it. That's how we've been taught to understand it. And therefore we measure it in our human terms, even if for the soul, it may not have that exact same cadence. Okay. When the schism happened in 1054, why did the Roman Church take the name Catholic? So Catholic meaning universal. The Orthodox Church also kind of calls itself that. It just depends on the context. Certainly the Orthodox Church considers itself to be the universal church. So how it sort of ended up that the Roman Catholic Church ended up with Catholic, I don't really know if that's true in other languages besides English. I just don't know enough about that. I guess in Russian, Katolicheskaya Tserkov we say. So yeah, I think I don't know the answer, how that sort of landed as a as one of the adjectives in Rome, but it did, and is used less often for the Orthodox Church. So yeah, don't know the answer, and that is an interesting question, and I'll see if I can find out more about that, because I'd like to know more about it myself. So I'm going to actually take a note about that. Okay, so those are the questions that were written in the chat. Now I'm going to go to the questions that may have been written sent in at first ahead of time in the sort of form that we send out, but it doesn't look like anybody sent anything, which is okay. Just wanted to see. Curious Vlad questions. Let's see. Nope, nothing new for this time. Okay, good. So we can go to questions that people may have who are here on the call with us. So if you have questions, just hit the little hand at the bottom, or just unmute yourself and ask your question, and we can answer those questions that you may have. Okay. I know that people don't always come with questions, or like Lori wrote hers in the chat, which is nice. So that's perfectly fine as well. I thought it would be interesting. So knowing this, remembering this from previous Curious Vlads, I thought, well, we should think a little bit about what to say if there aren't any questions. And I thought it would be interesting to talk just a little bit about that gospel of the sower again that we had yesterday in church, and really how it's a very helpful gospel for us in that it forces us to sort of take a little deeper look into the parables. That point that I made about how St. Gregory Palamas says that the reason that the Lord spoke in parables was not to hide things from those who were not being attentive to him, but in fact to kind of draw them in, kind of almost like a riddle, that he would use that to make them think and get people to be more interested in what he's speaking. Now, apparently at that time, it was very common to speak in parables. It was a sort of rhetorical device. But that's interesting what St. Gregory of Palamas says, that the Lord used that rhetorical device to pull people in towards him, to get people who are sort of orbiting, not really paying attention, to be more attentive to what it is that he's saying. So I thought that was a very interesting piece. And also this sort of idea that, well, it's random where the seed goes. It just gets thrown. When you're sowing seed, like I was today, you're just kind of like throwing it, right? And then the wind takes it and it kind of goes where it goes. Well, obviously you try to control that a little bit with the wind, but the fact is that it kind of goes where it goes. Well, that's not the meaning of the parable at all. The meaning of the parable, right? We have rock, we have thorns, we have the wayside. Those are the three bad places where the seed could go, or it could go on good ground. Well, the whole point of the thing is not the randomness of what's being sown. The whole point of the thing is that we have to make ourselves that good ground. We have to strive to be that good ground. Or like Saint Macarius the Great says, we can be the abode of the Holy Spirit, or we can be the abode of the devil, and that's our choice. It's our choice by the way we live our life, by the way we struggle and strive for the heavenly kingdom. So it's not random at all. We use our free will, and we can use it to pursue God, or we can use it to flee God. And this parable of the sower, and like where the Lord says, many are called, but few are chosen. It's all about us choosing. We choose to be with God, or we choose not to. And so we should choose to do that, and to try to follow the gospel precepts to the greatest extent that we can. So that's a little recap of yesterday's sermon. You can see the whole thing on YouTube, but I do think that those are the most important points from this particular gospel of the sower. So, all right, so we're about 25 minutes in, which is great. And if there are any questions for those who are here, then I'll be very happy to answer those. And if there aren't, then we will probably say goodnight. So let's do this. We'll do a little countdown here. So you press the little hand on the bottom, or we'll say goodbye. Going once, going twice, and 3 times. And okay, very good. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. This little video will be on our YouTube channel probably tomorrow. Sometimes Curious Vlad is longer, sometimes it's shorter. That's okay. That's part of the fun. And as we kind of ramp up again this year after the long summer break, then maybe we'll have more questions, and we'll have a little bit more content for the Curious Vlad. But until next Monday, then I will say goodbye, and let's have a prayer to end. It is truly meet to bless thee, the Theotokos, ever blessed and most blameless and mother of our God, more honorable than the cherubim, and beyond compare more glorious than the seraphim, who without corruption giveth birth to God the Word, the very Theotokos, thee do we magnify. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining, and hope to see you next week. Bye bye.